It's May 1st and I'm heading home to Elmira, New York for the final doctor's visit for my broken wrist and to see my father. Funny enough, I broke my wrist just days after breaking up with my girlfriend, Lee Barelli, in Austin, Texas a couple years ago. Going home always makes me nostalgic for the people I once knew, including Jenica Shapiro, who was my first serious girlfriend. For our first date, we went to the Arnett Mall in Horseheads, New York, and saw the movie Forrest Gump. I remember that in the movie, Forrest had a best friend named Jenny. He said the two of them were like peas and carrots. Jenica and I broke up after 2.5 years, but I don't think I'll ever forget that line.
Peas and carrots, they're quite a lovely pair, it seems. Complement each other simply, tastefully. Both sweet and grounded, rooted in a garden that's
My early memories of family life were good ones. My older brother Bill and I were peas and carrots. We always played together, and I did my best to keep up with him. My mom and dad were happy together too, just like the parents in other families we knew. But by the time I was 6 years old, they argued nearly every night. Things slowly got worse, and they eventually divorced. My father left, and my brother and I lived with my mom. It was a difficult time for all of us. I was the first kid in my first grade class to have divorced parents, and I wondered silently what had driven them apart. Weren't they peas and carrots too? Ancient Chinese philosophy describes the universe as composed of two primal opposing but complementary forces. One element is passive, dark, and feminine. The other is active, light, and masculine. In relationships, then, what makes women and men different and causes our confrontations is the same essential quality that mutually attracts us. Assuming that men are the peas and women are the carrots, then, what attracts the female to the male would be our penis. This is making sense already, but I feel I'll have to search more if I am to better understand the issue.
Relationships are all about balance and finding, I guess, common interests yet being different too.
You're an engineer, I think,
You're more artistic.
Well, I think you're artistic too, but
I'm more relaxed.
you're more relaxed. I'm a little bit more hyper.
I'm untidy, she's tidy.
My friends who are used to a certain kind of a manic energy sometimes from me, I have less of that when Nicole's around. She balances it and she cancels some of it out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we also clash in those senses too, but I think, I don't know. I feel like,
We love each other's company,
yeah, we have fun.
About a year after my parents were officially divorced, my father met and married Carolyn Tiemann. I was angry with my dad for not working things out with my mom, and began harboring the suspicion that relationships were not meant to last. Things were getting tough at school too, where I was the shortest boy in my 6th grade class. This made me an easy target for school bullies. I was also a shrimp compared to my older brother Bill, and I was none too happy about any of this. Being small definitely made it hard to woo the ladies. It seemed I would have to look elsewhere for love in my life. Strangely enough, I found it for many years in the sport of diving. I started off having trouble just bending the board. But as I grew, I got much better, and my self-confidence increased accordingly. During this time period, I began dating. Things were finally looking up as girls for the first time began to really appreciate my penis. And I began to discover that beneath my shyness was the sweetness that women really cherished, both mentally and physically. The new experience of romantic love was exhilarating, and I became eager to experience more. Jenica and I dated through the end of college, but we broke up because I wanted to see the world. On my travels, I had relationships from time to time, but each time I was still unable to commit. In the following years, I moved to Austin, Texas, where I fell in love with my ex, Lee Barelli. I'd show you a picture of her if I could, but I burned them all. It occurs to me that the word carrot could be a compound term derived from the words care and rot, meaning to decompose from the inside out, from caring too much. But either way, it seems that my haphazard approach to relationships had finally caught up with me.
Me as being a single, available bachelor, that's the title that pretty much I am, single, available bachelor, right? Like, you're open to learning and you're open to meeting unlimited possibilities. Because the way I see it and the way many people see it in today's society is, why cut yourself short?
I am in this space where I'm all the time like asking men to fulfill, you know, my desire to be a mother and to be married and to be a wife, and in a way I realize that a lot of the things that these men don't seem to be able to give me because they are not ready. I'm possibly thinking now, how ready am I if I keep on choosing men that are not ready?
As I said, I injured my wrist around the time of my traumatic breakup with Lee. In the beginning, I used to reduce the swelling in my arm by applying frozen bags of peas and carrots. This was a humble first step in a long line of treatments that I tried, including physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractics, psychotherapy, and travel.
But if there's no peace,
but it seemed that lots of time was really what was required for my hand and heart to heal. It wasn't until over a year after the initial injury that a specialist in New York City finally found the cause of my physical problem, a torn ligament in my wrist. Interestingly, according to Chinese medicine, this point lies directly on the heart meridian, so it seems my symptoms, both physical and emotional, were all entwined. On February 9th, I had orthoscopic surgery performed on my wrist at the Lattimore Community Surgery Center in Rochester, New York. The procedure went well. In addition to light physical therapy, I was required to report back to the center for 2 follow-up appointments. Driving up now for the second of these appointments, I had the opportunity to ask my father what he thought makes a good match.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm the one to even try answering that. The old batting average isn't so good with me. The usual allowing the other person to be a person in their own right, and then an awful lot of luck, because people grow over time and change. So do I still love your mother? Of course I do. Can't live with her, but I sure love her.
You know, I think this is finally starting to make some sense. It happens. Sometimes we lose someone in a relationship with whom we thought we were peas and carrots. It's hard, but we can't lose track of what's most important in our relationship with ourselves.
but if there's no peace,
To be honest, I'm not quite there yet. This is a lesson I'm still learning, but I can say that my heart is open again. I've rediscovered my penis, and I'm eager to see what happens next.
no peas and carrots, they're quite a lovely pair, it seems. Complement each other simply, tastefully.